Percent. Percent means parts out of 100. For example, 78% means 78 parts out of 100. We could write it as a fraction, 78 parts out of 100 total. And then, of course, you could reduce, but this shows 78%. Also, if you think of money, a dollar has 100 pennies. So 78 out of 100 pennies would be 78 cents, or 0.78. So those are some forms of the percent. In this section, we're going to convert from percent to decimal and a fraction, and then also back to percent. When you do calculations, you have to work without the percent symbol to do the math. There are a few percents that you should memorize because they'll help you know if your answers are reasonable. One of those is 100%. 100% is equal to 1. And if you remember, we're always allowed to multiply by 1. That's our multiplicative identity. And so because 100% equals 1, we can get anything into percent by multiplying by 100%. And that's allowed because it's equal to 1. Some others that you should know, 50% is equal to a half. This is 50 parts out of 100 reduces to a half. If you have lots of memory space, I would say go for the other two in between. So 75% of something will be 75 parts out of 100, or 3/4. And 25% of something will be 25 parts out of 100, or 1/4. So if you try to memorize those four, that will help you know if answers are reasonable. Our first conversion that we'll look at is to change from a percent to a fraction. We will just use the definition. Percent means parts of 100, and then reduce. So for our first example, we're going to convert 34% to a fraction. So going to a fraction, we'll use the definition. So 34% means 34 parts out of 100, and then we'll just need to reduce. So these are both even. They end in an even digit, so we can divide by 2. So we'll divide each by 2. 2 into 100 will go 50. And 2 into 34 will go 17 times. Next, we will change from a percent to a decimal. You drop the percent and move the decimal 2 places to the left. For our next example, we will convert 34% to a decimal. So we're going to drop our percent symbol. Let me write up bigger. That's what we have. So we'll drop the percent symbol off and move the decimal 2 places to the left. If you don't see the decimal, remember it's at the end. So we will have 0.34. A common one that you might have to do, especially if you live in Indian River County, is to convert 7% to a decimal. This is a sales tax. So if we're going to convert 7% to a decimal, so this is what we have, 7%. And we're going to drop the percent, and the decimal has to go 2 places to the left. Right now it's at the end. So 1, 2. So we're going to have to add a 0 to get it over enough spaces. So 0.07, or 7 cents on a dollar. Our next conversion is to change from a decimal to a percent. Anytime we're going to a percent, we can multiply by 100%, whether it is a decimal or a fraction. So for our next example, we'll convert 0.032 to a percent. So this is what we have. We want to go to percent, so we multiply by 100%. If you remember your shortcuts of multiplying by a power of 10, It just moves the decimal to the right as many places as you have zeros in your power of 10. So we have 2 zeros in 100. It's going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So we're going to have 3.2, and then you will have the percent symbol. So anytime you're going to change a decimal to a percent, it's just going to move the decimal 2 places to the right for those 2 zeros in 100%. For our next example, we will convert 2.5 to a percent. So we have a decimal going to a percent. It will move 2 places to the right for those 2 zeros in 100. So we're really multiplying by 100%. Our 2 zeros moves our decimal 2 places to the right. We have to add that 0 so we can get 2 places, and then we add our percent symbol. It is okay to have a percent larger than 100%. Remember, 1 equals 100%, and we have 2.5, so it is reasonable for it to be more than 100%. Our last conversion will be to change from a fraction to a percent. So we will multiply by 100%. Anytime you're going to a percent, you can multiply by 100%. So we're going to convert 2/5 to a percent. So we'll write down what we have. We have 2/5, and we're going to multiply by 100%. To get percent, we'll make it look like a fraction. So we'll put it over 1. Remember, when you multiply fractions, you can simplify on the diagonal. So we could divide out the 5. 5 into 5 once, and 5 into 100 will go 20. And then we will multiply across. So we'll go across the numerators. 2 times 20 is 40. Also, you have your percent symbol. Denominators, 1 times 1 is 1, so you still have 1. So 40%. There is an alternate method of changing a fraction to percent, and this is especially nice if you have a calculator. You can first convert the fraction to a decimal. On a calculator, you would just punch it in top to bottom. So you would do 2 divided by 5, and it would give you 0.4, and then you would just move your decimal 2 places to the right. Since we don't have a calculator, we can do it by hand. So we would change 2/5 to a decimal. So this is the middle step that it doesn't mention. So first of all, if we change 2/5 to a decimal, we have to divide. Remember, long division, denominator into the numerator. 5 won't go into 2, so we'll put our decimal, take it straight up, and then add zeros. So we'll add a 0. Now we can do 5 into 20. We'll go 4 times. 4 5s are 20. Now, this did not get you into percent. It just changed you to a decimal. But to go from a decimal to a percent, you'll just move the decimal 2 places to the right and add your percent symbol. So once you have calculators, this would be the technique that you use to get a fraction over to percent, just because it is so fast to get the fraction into a decimal.